Welcome to Castles to Cauldrons, where every journey starts with a little bit of magic.
Welcome to Castles and Cauldrons. My name is Jason Davis, and I'm here with my co-host Micah, Terry, and Rachel. Today, we've had some big news drop this week. We figured we'd throw out an episode to talk about some of the news. Pretty decent announcements, really, when it comes to Disney World itself and what Universal's going to be going through in the next couple of years. We're going to start with just the smallest of the news. Big Thunder Mountain is going to be closing on January 5th for a year of refurbishments. I'm thinking, I haven't read too much into it, but I think it's going to probably go with a track replacement, possibly. But I know they're upping the actual attraction itself, so I'm hoping that it looks more like a Disneyland type thing with the dynamites and blowing up of stuff on the last drop hill. What are y'all's thoughts?
I saw that they said that it was going to be closed for like at least a year. So we're looking at for sure a year, possibly more. My hope was that it's closing because they're going to have to block some of that stuff off to start with the expansions of Magic Kingdom. You know, if that's going to be with the Cars area in Frontierland or actually starting on Villain Land, that's why it's being closed. Kind of like, I'm sure they haven't announced that the railroad's going to be closed, but it's going to have to be closed soon, I would assume, so that they can start that expansion and stuff back there.
I think didn't the announcement say like they were adding quote unquote more magic to it to like add on to what Micah said, I think, in which you were saying about how they're gonna refurb it, but boost it, make it better, make it more exciting. And I think you're right about moving things around maybe to make room for the cars and everything else. I think it might just be easier to shut that whole area down, like she said, with the train, everything, and you just get everything done at one time instead of staging it out. Because I hate walking around when they have all the walls up, especially in Epcot and stuff. Sometimes you just feel so claustrophobic and it doesn't feel like it's Disney World sometimes. So I think the faster they can get something done, I would rather see it all closed for 1 year and refurb than like this for 6 months, this for 6 months, this for 6 months, and just on and on for a while.
I feel like it's almost a refurbishment out of I just had it in my head, sorry, I brain fog. Like a refurbishment out of convenience because they are going to be expanding that section. So, to your point, Terry, I do like the fact that they're going to close off the entire thing. So not one thing here, one thing there. They just close it right off. But I think they just like, if we have to shut this down, then let's refurb, Big Thunder Mountain. So I think it's good that, right. Yeah, I think it's a good thing that they're going to do it and just, it stinks for people that want to go there and get rid of their kidney stones, but, no, I think it'll be good for that section of the park.
And like I alluded to, I think Disneyland before the 60th, they actually shut down the ride for, I know it was at least 6 months. It might have been a year. And they did the whole track refurb. They put projections into the lift hill at the end. So those who have been on it, it really plussed up the ride. So I'm hoping that's what we get at the end is maybe a smoother ride because I really don't want more kidney stones. The next big thing we heard about closing, this was closure for permanent, is on January 12th. They're going to start closing off Dinoland attractions. So Triceratops Spin, Fossil Fun Games, and Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. That's going to be closing for the Tropical America expansion. I'm okay with this. Very okay with this.
They didn't include Dinosaur in this. So I was wondering, is it just going to be like walled off and we're just going to have like a walkway just to go to Dinosaur until they decide to close that down to change it over to Indiana Jones?
Well, they also didn't close off Restaurantosaurus.
So kind of that side, they're going to close off probably and they didn't say Boneyard. So is that front half going to be open and then they're just going to put like a wall up from that like gift shop over with everything else that's in Dinoland USA, I wonder?
Yeah, I kind of think they want to get started on Encanto. Because it's probably going to be a lot.
Micah was that they were going to get all the other stuff out and then come back and refurb.
Not even for that, but they have to have some place to funnel guests. So I think if they close out that entire, you're going to be funnel. It's just going to, make the other parts of the park crowded. So I think that's probably why they're going to do it in phases.
Yeah, because I hope they keep some sort of walkway to connect you over to Asia. Because if not, that's going to be like a lot of bottlenecks of like having to go and then turn around and come back through Discovery Island to get over to Asia. So hopefully they'll keep some sort of walkway open right there, so it's still kind of a circle and you can connect all the way around at Animal Kingdom.
I think they'll let Dinosaur limp on for a few months just to kind of get the ball rolling. And then once Encanto opens, they'll have a few months left until Indiana Jones is actually going to open. That way, there's something there. It's like, hey, you can keep coming back over this way when Indiana Jones opens up.
I guess I didn't think about them doing the Encanto ride first and then closing down Dinosaur to switch it over, so that there's still something back there for them. I guess that didn't. I didn't think they would do it that way. I just thought they would kind of shut everything down in that section and do it all at one time, and like have like a, I don't know, grand opening of the Tropical Americas of all the new stuff versus like it in phases that way.
Yeah, I didn't think about the traffic flow either, but that was a good point of keeping something open to keep people moving and dispersed instead of having them all funnel together.
Yeah, because Animal Kingdom doesn't have that many attractions at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So this gives you still a very high capacity ride back there for people to go on, whether they want to take care of it or not. It's there, and people can still say goodbye. And
Farewell.
Bye, Dinosaur.
Did anyone you guys know hate it? Because I know some people who hate Dinosaur. Like, I can actually ride Dinosaur, so it doesn't bother me. But there are some people who hate it. They just don't go on it. So
I don't care.
No, I go on it. I don't get sick on it either. I went on Everest this week, and that was a bad call.
Oh no! Oh no!
Were you like rooting for the day though after that?
No, it was at night, so the park was closed, and we were in there for the event. So they had that ride open for anyone that wanted to ride it. So we were on. I was like on like a vacant track with, car with other people, and it was so dark. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I was on that ride. Years. It was very dark.
To Micah's point, Disney has trained us as fans and even as travel agents that they're going to close a whole land off to redo it. So if they're closing this and then closing Dinosaur at a later date, that's new to us. That's maybe they're taking a book out of something Universal does of just closing a little area off, redoing it, coming back, because they know they need those attractions to keep people in there.
No, they definitely need things to have people do, especially in Animal Kingdom, because like we said, there's just not as much to do in Animal Kingdom. So they need to have something over in that section, I guess, available and open if they're not closing the whole thing down, so that we can disperse people around. I mean, Animal Kingdom is a big park and you can spread people out throughout the entire park, but they just don't have as many rides and as many things, and they're taking away Triceratops Spin. So, I mean, it's a low capacity like ride anyway, but it's still taking away something that you can take the little kids on when they're there, because there's just not as many options.
Okay, what's the roller coaster they had in there?
Oh, it's the one that's kind of like Goofy Sky School, but I don't remember what it was called.
Well, when they tore that down, they've kept the walls up for that ever since then. So there's big empty space with some tables where they've kind of pushed the walls back. So this just kind of brings that to the forward of it.
I was going to say how they don't want to close the land all at one time. I don't think they want to bring everyone in to say goodbye at the same time. I think they want to disperse have people coming in January to say goodbye to those things. And then maybe a few months down the line, they're just going to change their attendance out.
Well, who's going to say goodbye to the Chester and Hester stuff, like the games?
I don't know, but like that whole section. It was
called Primeval Whirl.
There we go. Primeval
Oh,
Whirl.
yeah. That's right. Oh, that's the one that used to like.
Yeah,
it was so jerky.
It's like jerky. The cat and the mouse thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mouse trap type of. I remember that.
Crazy Mouse. That's what they call it, the fairs. Crazy Mouse.
The fair ride, the Crazy Mouse. Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was just a fair ride put in there.
I remember that.
Yeah, they took it down, and then I always thought they would do something back there, but then they just never did anything at all.
Well, they are now.
They are now.
I think it's a good change. I really do. I think it needed the facelift.
I feel like that's the side of the park. I like the dinosaur vibes and everything, but I feel like it just feels dated. It doesn't feel like anything new. I hate the carnival theme. I might be the only one, but I just don't think Disney World and Carnival belong together. Disney World's a lot more elevated than a state fair or a carnival. So I feel like the vibe should be elevated as well.
They need to keep that boneyard in, though.
Yeah. Like that.
Or retheme it in some way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they
that
could keep
section
the
for
bone
little
thing with
kids.
Indiana Jones, fossils. They could do something, if they wanted to keep that around.
No, because when I was little and went to Disney World, I'm sure you guys probably remember being at Hollywood Studios when they had the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids play section.
Yes.
It was so
Yes.
fun. Like I have
Fun.
very vivid memories of that like playground area and doing stuff in there. And I just feel like Disney has kind of gotten away from some of those playgrounds and stuff for the kids, and that's why Boneyard is so fun and stuff because there's somewhere for the kids just to run and play. And like Terry said, not wait in a line to get on a ride. I think they can just run and play and have a great time.
Like my kids love the circus part at Animal Kingdom, but they get wet. And so sometimes it's not the ideal time to get wet, because we have a whole day or it's just not warm enough or, things like that. And I'm like, I want you to go over there and play and run around that area, but it's just not ideal right now that you come back soaking wet because we've got to go eat dinner or do something else. So like you said, a nice, dry, cleanish place for them to get out some energy is really nice.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see what they'll do back there with Encanto and what the ride's gonna look like.
I think it's gonna be beautiful back there.
Yeah.
And I think I said this on one of the other podcasts when we were talking about how I feel like that whole dinosaur theme is just very disconnected for Animal Kingdom with the being Asia and Africa. And now we're going to have tropical Americas. It just feel like it's more of a cohesive theme throughout the whole park, that it just makes more sense that way for them to be doing that.
And Avatar kind of has that really tropical look to it. And I love Pandora. And I don't even watch the movies, and I love everything down there. I think it's beautiful. I think, the staging they did was great. The smells good, And so I think if Encanto just you kind of flow from one to another, I think it'll be a natural transition, like you said, where the dinosaurs kind of was like a little bump in the road.
Yeah.
Now with Chippendale, Donald's, Dino Bash, whatever they've been celebrating the past 17 years with the characters in the dinosaur costumes, it's like a real stretch of, okay, now we're trying to really incorporate Disney into this side of stuff, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you want some history though on the Dino Land area, Joe Rohde's starting to do a little series on Instagram, and he's going through and talking about different things. He showed a couple paintings that he's done for the area and talks about why he did them and how he did them. So keep an eye on that. It's really cool.
Are they bringing him in to help with the tropical
not.
America stuff? I was like, why not? Why wouldn't they? He already helped design all of Animal Kingdom. It makes more sense that they would bring him in for at least his input on things.
I don't think they care about his input anymore.
What's his username in case somebody wants to follow him?
I think it's just Joe Rohde. So with stuff closing, let's turn to stuff opening. Epic Universe, we finally got the announcements of opening dates and when packages are going on sale. Epic Universe is scheduled to open on May 22nd, which is a Thursday, I believe. It's the Thursday before Memorial Day. Packages will be on sale as of now when this podcast comes out. We will be glad to book you in whatever. It's going to be also Helios Grand's opening date for booking too. So you have to have a 3-day ticket at least to get into this park. You can only go in the park once during those 3 days. There's no reservation needed, but you have to have that 3-day pass. And I think it has to be just a regular pass, like a basic 3-day ticket. You don't have to have a park hopper or anything like that. So that's the good thing. And then if you're an annual pass holder for Universal, you can get a single-day ticket for on sale starting October 24th. We don't have pricing for any of it yet, but that's a good perk for the annual pass holders. Those will be date specific. So if you want opening day or anything like that, you'll have to choose your date. Excited for this?
Yeah, I mean, very excited. It's actually opening slightly earlier than I thought it was going to next year. I thought it was going to be more into summer and not like Memorial Day weekend. I just thought it was going to be just slightly later into the year. But it makes sense. They're trying to get it open as early as possible to take advantage of like all the people traveling for the summer.
I had the same thought, Micah. I thought it was going to be like July or something like that. When I saw May, I was excited. So
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you. I really thought it was gonna be later in the summer. So it coming out in May, I think is a great thing. But it makes sense why they stopped selling their packages
Hmm.
come April 2025, and you cannot book out further because they were awaiting the
Waiting.
opening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Waiting for us to be able to book those packages for everything.
I think May was always their anticipated opening date, but they wanted to make sure that if anything happened and it got delayed, they could easily move it back without saying, "Hey, we're having to cancel your resort," or "Hey, you have to cancel your trip because I'm not opening when you thought we were."
I
Brand,
think
you-
this shows they may be like ahead of schedule where they're supposed to be too. Like they're like, we know we can be open by May 22nd. They may, because they could be just like so much further along in construction than what they thought they were going to be. Like that was their, like you said, Jason, their projected date they wanted to open. But, you know, with hurricanes and storms and not being able to get materials sometimes, that those things get pushed back. So now they're able to be like, yep, actually we can open, and they're comfortable enough to say now, like, we know for sure we're going to be able to be open by that point, even if we have, you know, probably some minor delays along the way.
Let's just keep throwing people's names out there. BioReconstruct on Twitter or X or whatever the app's called nowadays. He's been really good at keeping updates going. He gets in a helicopter and takes pictures from up high. And the park looks almost opening day ready in a lot of cases when it comes to scaffolding coming down and greenery coming up. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be great. Helios Grand. So its price point is starting at $293 a night. Very big surprise for me, and I think a lot of us, we thought it was going to be a $600 or $700 a night on average type hotel, since it was the entrance room or entrance hotel for the park.
Well, and also just that it's going to be such a staple to look at, you know, like we were saying, kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
Walt Disney World, like Magic Kingdom, we have the castle, Hollywood Studios, you have Tower of Terror. Like this is going to be that centerpiece that you see, and then you can stay there in the low season for as low as $293 a night. Like I just really thought it was. I know looking at like renditions of the rooms and stuff, they definitely don't look fancy or, you know, anything like spectacular that's going to be in the actual hotel itself, but just location wise, like to literally have your own entrance into the park alone,
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have been priced way higher, almost double what that is.
Hmm.
I don't think for $300 you're going to be staying in a theme park view room. I think that will be probably $400 or $500 a night room, but I'll pay it at least once just to say
Yeah.
I've done it.
And to get that view and see. And I wonder if they'll do eventually down the road, if they'll do any type of like, I know we have early entry into those things, but people staying at Grand Helios, if they'll have like any special entrance, like I know they have a special entrance, but like special time to go in, or like an extra 15 minutes to 30 minutes earlier than the regular people if you're staying there.
I think it's universal. They do that with all the parks and all the resorts. So, well, not all the parks. They select parks on select days. So I think Epic will probably have its day during the week, and Helios will be a place you want to stay if you want to visit Harry Potter, because you come out of Helios and you're right there at it, you know.
Yeah.
So it'll have its benefits for those early entries.
Yeah, because on that backside of the park is what Harry Potter and Dark Universe is on that backside near the hotel.
Yeah. And then whatever expansions comes about. Disney's biggest announcement this week was that Lightning Lane is getting another tier, just to make it even more confusing for everybody. The Lightning Lane.
But this is the less confusing out of all of them.
Yes, it is the less confusing. So Lightning Lane Premier Pass is a one-time entrance to any Lightning Lane attraction. No booking windows required, so you don't have to use your cell phone. This will be available for 2 days before you go to your Disneyland trip and 7 days ahead of your Walt Disney World trip. Limited availability each day. Disneyland will use both parks, while Disney World can only use one park a day. And then another note is that Walt Disney World will be starting there as October 30th, and it's only for deluxe and deluxe villas, the Swan and Dolphin, and Shades of Green to begin with. Disneyland Resort starts on October 23rd, and there's no restrictions. So I would assume that's off-site guest and on-site guest. What are our overall thoughts on this?
I knew they were going to do something similar. They had to, like with how Universal does Express Pass. I knew they were going to do that. I am surprised they don't have some sort of multi-park option for Walt Disney World right now, because there are going to be people staying at deluxe resorts that are going to want a park hop. This is kind of making them stay in one park if they're going to pay this money. And some of it is more expensive than I anticipated it being, with it not being unlimited, with you being only being able to ride each ride one time. It is more expensive than I anticipated, because I feel like Universal's Express Pass, the unlimited one, is not what is the price for Magic Kingdom? It could be up to $449 a person.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Plus
$1,600 a day for a family of 4.
Right, like you can only ride the rides one time.
Yeah.
Like it should be at that price point, in my opinion. Unlimited rides, kind of like, because how much is Universal's unlimited Express Pass at the most expensive?
I don't know off the top of my head right now.
Probably like high twos.
High
Right.
twos, and you can use it in both parks, right? At Universal.
Yeah.
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 There's
Right.
an option to use it in both parks. You can buy it for one
Right.
park, or you can buy it for both parks.
So
Like
I-
minimally starting at $329 in Magic Kingdom.
Right.
That's the base rate.
That's
$329.
so, to me, that is so expensive. And it is only going to, right now, I see why they're doing deluxe and villas, because people that are staying there most of the time, they might be able to afford it better than someone staying at All-Star, Sports would be able to want to throw in an extra. But some people may decide to stay at a value resort to be able to afford those
I was going to
things.
say, what about those kind of people that say, hey,
Right.
we're good because we're only going to sleep, so let's sleep cheap and
Yeah.
let's pay to do the stuff that we actually came here to do.
I know, but the price point, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I just feel like it should be unlimited at that price. Like starting over $300 at Magic Kingdom, like it should be an unlimited thing. Like if you want to go for $330 before tax, I should be able to ride Tron 5 times in a row if I want
Yeah.
to, like get off and get back on for that price.
Do
Well-
do they still have to purchase the single passes?
No.
Or does that include single pass and
This-
multi-pass?
This includes single, like every Lightning Lane attraction, so single pass and regular pass. Let me run through the prices right and quick. Animal Kingdom is $129 to $199 per person plus tax. Epcot is $169 to $249 per person plus tax. Hollywood Studios $269 to $349 plus tax per person, and Magic Kingdom is $329 to $449 plus tax per person. It was talked about on X/Twitter, whatever, that the price comparisons for the opening day, so October 30th, comparing it to Universal, Magic Kingdom will be $329, Hollywood Studios $269, Epcot $169, Animal Kingdom $129, Islands of Adventure $115, and Universal Studios is going to be $110.
And is this comparing Universal's Express Pass, where it's the not unlimited one, where
this
you
is
only
the
ride the
regular
rides
one.
one
This
time?
is the regular one pass, one
Yeah.
ride. So I mean, it's obviously Magic Kingdom is way out of price range. It's $200 or it's over $200 more. But when you look at Animal Kingdom and Epcot, they're kind of closer.
I just don't see this being worth it at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think it's worth it?
I mean, if you're going to pay the money, Magic Kingdom definitely, because there's the most rides. And I don't know if they're putting this price point there because of the expansions coming and more rides that will have Lightning Lane availability in the future. But right now, looking at it, I don't even want to say like worth it, because it is so expensive. But Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, because they're usually the two parks that if I'm going to go, I would use when it was Genie Plus. Like I would use Genie Plus at those parks so we could make sure we rode the things. Animal Kingdom and Epcot, a lot of times I feel like if you're there early and you want to ride things, you're able to get what you want to ride out of the way without having to purchase something additional.
And you can still buy Lightning Lane multi-pass and Lightning Lane single pass for the parks you're going into. So if you bought Premier Pass for Magic Kingdom, you can buy Lightning Lane multi and single for Rise of Resistance at Hollywood Studios. You're adding
But if
on
I'm
to all
paying
that.
$330, I'm not leaving Magic Kingdom that day. Like
Right.
Yeah.
I'm staying there all day.
Well, times the number of people in your family, it's I asked around to people who go to Disney and then people who have never been, but they maybe want to go one day. So Disney hardos, and like the across the board answer I got was that's just too expensive. Like just even people who go to Disney every year, they were like, the main thing I got was the surge pricing. Everyone hates that. Like, just make a price. Don't make it dependent. And then everyone's like, it's just like they did nickel and dime everything you want to do. It's just, it's more, it's more, it's more. So I'm sure that they have a complete group of people who've done all the focus groups, and this is the best way, the best path forward to do this. But I just can't understand it right now. With, like you said, it's only in deluxe. You only have the opportunity to purchase it if you already spend a lot of money on a resort. And then, God forbid, you go like Christmas time when it's peak, and then you've got to pay, for a family of four, almost $2,000 extra to go to Magic Kingdom to have.
You don't have to pay for it.
If you want to, but it's not even unlimited rides. Like, so your peak time, so you want to make sure you get Tron, and you want to make sure you get all the best ones. So you're like, well, let me shell out another $2,000 for my. It just, it's a lot. I think, and it kind of makes you wonder why the decision was made that way.
I don't know if they're going to eventually put it for complimentary to deluxe guests or to see if that face was.
No.
Well, you figure
Disney.
If you're looking, I know, but if you're looking at like, premier resorts at Universal, that's what they do. Maybe they wanted to get a smaller subset because those resorts are smaller compared to the moderates and the value resorts. So maybe they wanted to cap it on how many people were going to be able to purchase it. I also think that it's going to reduce the amount of people that purchase park hopper tickets, because if I'm paying that much money for one park, I'm not leaving that park.
Yeah.
Right.
So I do think that people will save the money by doing a base ticket instead of a hopper, maybe for that option.
And I will agree with you. I think the deluxe option, and even Shades and Swan and Dolphin, I think it's for a focus group. I think it's the people who are going to pay the money. Yeah, they'll complain, but they're not going to complain as much as the people that are at All Star that spent $2,000 on the room and tickets, and then double that for a week worth of Premier Pass. Those people would actually complain every day about something and not give valuable input. They just be like, it's too expensive and I'm not getting what I want.
Do we think they'll limit then the amount of individual, Lightning Lane single passes for things like Tron or the other rides, so they don't have as many people, so they can control that better? Because with the individual ones, they know how many people are getting it and when they're going to ride, but they won't know that with this Premier Pass.
But they'll still know, because if four people buy Premier Pass, those are four people that could ride Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just add that into the Lightning Lane distribution for the day itself. So you're still getting a full on count of how many could ride the ride. You're actually going over what the possible is, because if Terry buys Premier Pass for her family, she's not going to ride Guardians. So that's actually one less person not going to ride it, but they've counted her as a rider.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm paying to watch my kids ride, pretty much.
If you pay that much for Premier Pass, you better
my
be
husband
getting
would probably strap me in against my will.
I paid all this money. You're riding it.
He'd see me over his shoulder kicking and screaming, don't alert the authorities. I'm safe. But yeah, he would be like, if we paid this much, you're going to ride.
Now, do I think there's people who are going to pay these prices? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be people who want to do this because they want to skip the lines. And what if this is their only trip they ever get to do to Walt Disney World, and they want to make sure that they're riding every single ride, and they may save up for this for, 2 or 3 years to be able to go on this trip. I don't think it's for the average person who is going to go to Disney World every year or every other year. They're probably just going to stick to Genie Plus or Lightning Lane Single Pass, Multi-Pass, whatever it's called now, or just not get anything at all because they've been there enough times to where they just ride what they want to ride and enjoy the ambiance of the parks and walking around.
I was just going to say, I've never done VIP. So if you get a VIP tour, do you get to do however many rides you want to, as many times as you want to?
So let me explain the VIP tour. Yeah. So VIP, they will pick you up, or you can meet the guide anywhere that you want to. So you have transportation, you get back entrance, like behind the stage entrance to all the parks. So that's the perk of it. So if you do the Premier Pass, you're not going to get that experience. Yes. So it is. So I view a VIP tour as unlimited lightning lanes.
Yeah.
So
how
it's
much
all
is
that
a VIP tour compared to a family
It
of
dep-
four purchasing the new Premier Pass for like Magic Kingdom? If it was almost $2,000.
Yeah. So a VIP tour ranges from $450 an hour up to $950 an hour, and it's a minimum of 7 hours, but you get up to 10 people.
Yeah.
So that's where the difference is. So like some people like to split it between two different families, two families of four or five and a six, they like to do that. But I will view it. It's pretty much a Premier Pass, but it's an unlimited Premier Pass because I could literally ride Tron. Well, no, they do have limitations on certain rides that you can only ride once, but like I could go on, Space Mountain as many times as I want on a VIP tour.
Yeah, any of the new rides, isn't it, that you pretty much only get one ride on? Anything that's
Yes.
virtual queue or
Yes.
like individual lightning lane type stuff, that's one per.
Yeah.
I do think though that people will start weighing out and VIP
Honestly,
becoming
that's
harder to
definitely
get.
something I would do. Like you said, 2 families.
Don't they include like snacks and stuff sometimes on the VIP tours too?
Yeah, so mine recently have been varied, but they usually will provide snacks. They used to do like baskets in the back of certain parks before you would enter, but now they would buy you like snacks while you're in the park. So it really depends on like what they're doing that day and if there's the staff to support it. But you just get that knowledge of a VIP guide. Like I've learned so many fun facts from a VIP guide. To go off what you were saying, Micah, earlier about people saying Pop Century or another value resort, that Pop Century is where the most VIP tours are booked out of because people will spend the money on the experience compared to their accommodation. I like what you said about how it's that subset category where they're not going to complain about the price and they're just going to, deluxe resort guests are going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of it without putting the price in the comparison, really. But a lot of people do stay at a value resort to spend their money on an experience.
I mean, that makes sense. Like, what are you there for to spend? Like, because some people spend money on the resort because they enjoy being in the resorts and using the pools and doing that and actually spending time. But the people who are staying at the values, like they're spending a majority of their time in the parks, and that's what they're there to do, and that's what they're paying for. So they don't care that it's a value resort and that it's just 2 queen beds with just a basic room with 2 queen beds and a bathroom, and that's where you're just going to sleep, maybe grab a snack, come back and have an afternoon break. But some people will go to Disney and stay at deluxe resorts and that's all they do, and they don't even go into a park.
Right. Yeah. I have a client that stays at the Riviera or the Boardwalk, and she'll just book all dining outside of the parks. They book a golf tee time. They do those things that are not part of the park.
It would be hard to be that close to Epcot at the Boardwalk and not want to go to Epcot.
I know.
Very hard. Very, very hard. I've been one that's been preaching for years that Disney needed to do this. Like, I love Universal's Express Pass. And I think it reflects really well on their standby lines on how well this works, because their standby lines are usually pretty close to accurate when times are up there. And if they're not accurate, they're a lot lower actual wait times because they're not pushing through people on the express side. So these people are just going in, getting in the ride, and there might be 10 people in line for express. So the standby line is just continuing to move. And I think Disney goes there. I think Disney eventually eliminates the Lightning Lane single pass and the Lightning Lane multi-pass, comes out with a Lightning Lane unlimited Premier Pass. And then we have these 2 high-priced options to get into the park. And maybe that's why we're seeing, because look at Haunted Mansion when Lightning Lane return times come back. That line usually is longer than the standby in some cases. You'll see pictures on Facebook and Instagram of how long these things are because everybody's returning at the same time. So you put it outprice people, and it will work. You have the option to buy it or you don't, and everybody complains now, but 4 years from now, everybody might love it.
I think we all knew they were going to go this way because of Universal, and most theme parks you go to have some sort of option that way. Our local theme park here, they have it's called Fast Lane, and you pay anywhere from $80 to I think $180. Like that's kind of their range. And I don't know if it's unlimited or not, but it's kind of the old school like piece of paper, like where they write things on it to tell you sometimes when to come back on things, and you have like little wristbands sometimes. But comparably, like I figured Disney would eventually go to something to where it's not, you have to be on your phone and schedule times because they needed to do that because all the other theme parks are already doing those types of things. So they were kind of like the last one to come in and do this.
It just makes it for a much more enjoyable experience by not having to have your face in your phone or be subject to time frames. So I think
you look at it and go, oh, I really want to ride this, but I have my next lightning lane at this time, so I can't do that, or I have to wait, or this isn't available. So you can literally just look and go, okay, we're going to start in Tomorrowland, and I'm going to ride all the things I want to ride in Tomorrowland. And then you can work your way around the park and probably get things done more efficiently and make less steps around the parks too.
I take it as a good sign too. Like it was mentioned, we're not in our phones as much if we get this. I think Disney really is listening. Now they're putting the price point on it, but Disney is listening to the customer saying, hey, we don't want to be on our phone all day. We want to enjoy time with our family and pay attention to what our kids are enjoying and not enjoying. So let's give them that, but we'll put a premium price on it.
I don't think they're going to have any problem selling it.
No.
It'll be sold out. I guarantee it.
No, I do think that Disneyland, which I don't know if I said it, Disneyland starts on October 23rd, and theirs is a set price, and it's 400 something. I can't remember off the top of my head. They include PhotoPass like all day on their thing.
And it's for both parks.
Yeah, both parks. Disney World, you only get photos for the rides, and like was mentioned, only for one park. I like that Disneyland gets the PhotoPass. I know it's a high selling price point over at Walt Disney World to buy the package for Memory Maker, but come on, you're spending $400 like it's been said for Magic
per
Kingdom.
person.
Yeah, per person. Just give us download of pictures for when we're walking around the park. You're not paying anything. You're paying the employees to take the pictures anyway. And no one's really processing it. It's all algorithms in the background that are attaching these pictures to my account. Just let me have my pictures.
Mm-hmm. They definitely, I feel like, need to add things like that to it if it's going to be just like Disney. Because Disneyland before they included, hasn't Disneyland already included pictures in their Genie Plus and stuff before? So they're just kind of continuing that.
Yeah, Disneyland had photos included in MaxPass before COVID. So, I mean, that's how long Disneyland has been having free PhotoPass throughout the park. And Disney World's not even listening to it. It's like, okay, we need this little package that's $200 for a week. Or what is it? It's like $80 for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, just take the money over here.
I love the Memory Maker, though. So
Yeah,
I pay it all the
every
time.
We pay
Every
it.
time.
I'm not complaining about the product. I'm just complaining like, hey, you could put something for free that's not anything.
But people pay it and they want to make 100%
Yes.
profit off of it.
That is why deluxe resorts will never get the perk of free Premier Pass.
Unless they up the price of the Premier or
it
of
could
the
be-
Deluxe.
Or it could be a concierge level perk.
Oh.
Like club level or
Yeah.
concierge level at the resort.
Like
Because there's-
Rachel just said, just up the price of my room and throw this in to make me feel like I'm getting a perk for booking the room. Does that make
like-
sense? Like if you
it's like free
gradually bump
shipping.
the price of
Yeah.
the room up and then I
Spend
get this,
Spend $30 more.
Bargain. You
It
know,
makes complete
like
sense, and that's why Disney won't do it. Because when they did that with the parking, You know, they couldn't include the parking in the price of the room. What they were already doing in the first place as a resort fee. They said, hey, when you get here, you're still going to have to pay $17 a night for your car. But I know y'all don't have to deal with that since y'all don't ever drive down like I do. But it's just, you could have put it there. It could have been the price of the room and just said, it's free parking, but we're paying for it anyways.
Are you going to try it? Is anyone going to buy it to try it out?
I may. Like, I might not do Magic Kingdom.
Like Hollywood?
Like Animal Kingdom or Hollywood, one of the cheaper Epcot, something small. Well, here's the question then. If you were to try it, what way would you try it? Would you try just one park? Which park would you use it for?
Hollywood Studios. Because my kids want to do everything in Star Wars land. So, Rise of the Resistance, all that stuff. It's just rock and roller coaster. Everything they would want to do, it's all there. So that's where we would use it.
I think my kids would want to do Hollywood Studios, but I would want to do Magic Kingdom because I'm a more leisurely ride person. It has to do with the type of rides that are in that park. Yeah, I can't do all the ups and downs. And like, I won't go in Tower Terror anymore.
I don't know. Like, if I was going to spend the money on it to get your money's worth, I would say Magic Kingdom, just because you would have the most options for rides and be able to do that. Hollywood Studios would probably be next just because of the rides and stuff there. I just don't know, again, if it would be worth it at all. Animal Kingdom. Epcot, if you're just wanting like Remy, Cosmic Rewind, Frozen type things, but because most of the other rides at the front of the park, at some point during your trip, they're usually going to have lower wait times for you to get on and be able to ride those things, even if you don't purchase like multi-pass up there. So I don't know. If I was going to do it, it would be Magic Kingdom, but I just, as of right now, I don't plan on using Premier Pass.
If I was going, it would just be for myself, not for my family of 4, for like a solo trip or a girls trip. I would not be spending that much money on a family of 4 now anyway.
Agree.
That's what I was going to say. It wouldn't be, obviously, I'm not going on a girls trip. But yeah, I would pay for a solo trip, or if it's like we all get together. When I went to Disneyland in 2022 for a conference, everybody bought Lightning Lane for Rise of Resistance. I'm like, I'm not buying Lightning Lane for a ride I've already ridden in Florida. That's the exact same. So I will be the oddball in the crowd and say I'm not going to buy something. But to this, it'd be like, let's try it. I'll do it. As long as it wasn't the $449 day.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's going to have to be like a Christmas time, spring break time, like type of pricing.
And
It'll be the same time frame when the VIP tours are $900 an hour. So holiday weekends, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I picture that as like the grandfather who pays for like the family trip and they stay at Grand Floridian and then he pays for you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not like, I feel like a mom and dad of an average family, like checking out $449 plus tax per person in family day. I feel like that's like a grandfather stroking out a check at the end of the week that's like, this is Merry Christmas to the family kind of thing, you know? And like, I was going to say that would make a great gift. Like when we go, both sets of grandparents are like, what are your kids, you know, we're telling them to give them the Disney gift cards because they like swiping the card or they like, you know, feeling like an adult. And I would be like, look, if you want to give our kids something for their trip, you know, just give me the money to pay for this, and that'll be like, you know, at least half of my family's paid for then, you know, as a little bonus that they don't have to wait in lines that day, and, you know, courtesy of grandma and grandpa kind of thing.
We're going to Disneyland in Christmas, so the 28th and 29th, I think, 28th, 29th, 30th. I might buy it for me and Beth for one of those days, just because it's Christmas week and everything, try to get through like, we don't have to be on our phones the entire time. I went ahead and bought Lightning Lane multi-pass for those in my ticket. But once in a lifetime type thing of, let's just buy it, do it. If it's worth it, we'll know in the future when we'll buy it again, even if we buy it for Florida.
Are you going to have to change your ticket type?
No.
Like if you're going to buy that? Like if you already have it included in your ticket type, like what happens?
Then I just have it. I think. I don't know.
Right, but if you plan on not using it and you're going to buy the Premier Pass, what do you want to change your ticket type?
We're going to use the other because it's a 3-day ticket, so we're only going to do it
Oh,
for 1 day.
gotcha. You're not going to do it every day.
Yeah, I'm not going to spend what would that be? Like $2,400. It'd be more than I paid for the trip. It's not hard.
Back to what Rachel was saying earlier about Park Hopper. Every time we book tickets, it's for 7 or 8 days, and we book Park Hopper for every day. And some days we don't use it, but we do it just in case. And it's not cheap to, go from a regular ticket to a Park Hopper. But in our opinion, if we're like at Animal Kingdom for half a day and we're like, hey, we want to go back to Hollywood Studios and go back on Rise of the Resistance, we'll just take the bus over there, So a lot of times Disney makes money off of us that way by just doing that. So, but we would not book Park Hopper days these days, obviously, if we're paying for this, because we would be glued to that park as from open to close if we were paying that much money.
The VIP tour, you have to have a Park Hopper ticket in order to hop. You can stay at one park or you can do all 4, but you have to have the Hopper ticket in order to hop.
That's going to do it for us today. We hope you enjoyed this little episode. Next episode will be the previous announced episode of Disney Cruise Line with Siobhan, and we'll be talking about all their ships, including what we can expect out of the new Disney adventure that was also announced this week. We just figured it'd be better to talk about it on a cruise ship episode. As always, if you want to get a hold of us and talk to us about booking your next Disney or Universal vacation, visit us at www.magicaltravel.com. Mention us in the show note or in your notes, and we'll be glad to get with you on a free, no obligation quote. And if you wanted one of our great agents over at Magical Travel, we'll hook you up with one of them. As always, like and subscribe to this podcast and share it whenever it comes across your feed. And we'll see you on the next episode.